So to set up a new drawing or to set up a new canvas, there are really a couple of different options. If you already have a drawing that you want to, bring into Clip Studio, you can simply go into Finder or go into Windows Explorer, grab the file, and drag it into the middle of the canvas and drop it, and that will create that new file. You can close this right up here at the top where this little X is, because I'm going to show you a different way. You want to create a brand new drawing. If you say you want to draw something and then color it in here, you go to File, New. You can also use the shortcut there, Control or Command plus the letter N, and that'll bring up this dialog box. Now, this use of work are just some different templates that it has by default. The comic templates actually have the lead lines and things like that if it needs to be professionally done to be printed. We'll go into the illustration section though. There's presets for this too, a lot of different options here. You can manually change the width, you can change the height, you can change the resolution. I think by default it's pixels or it might be millimeters, but if you don't like the units that are showing up here, you can just go over to unit and change that to inches or pixels or any number of these options. I will say for anything that's going to be printed, you want to use at least 300 resolution, your 300 DPI. There are some other options in here you can pull down and choose, or you can put in a resolution manually. You can just type, say, 400, for example. And then basic expression color, if we're going to be coloring it, you want to make sure it's in color. Otherwise, it'll just be black and white or shades of gray, basically, which is probably not what you're looking for. You can also decide whether or not you want a paper layer to be on the bottom and it defaults to white. That's fine. You can do that if you like, or you can uncheck that and it'll basically open an empty transparent canvas. So if you want to see the difference, if I leave this unchecked, click OK, you're just seeing an empty canvas on one layer and it's completely transparent. If I close this and go back to File, New, and this time choose Paper Color, if I click OK, it starts with a white paper layer on the bottom, and then you've got your transparent layer on top. Either way is fine. There are also some pretty good comic templates under here. If you go back to File, New, and click on the comic option, there is a for commercial issue preset. And if you're drawing, you do typically want to start with a higher resolution. So I would say 600 is pretty good for that. You can leave everything else to default if you want. Click OK. But most of the time, if you're working with a publisher, they're going to provide a template for you anyway. But this is a good template to use, and you can turn off the default borders by going to View, Crop Mark, Default Border. Not really something we're going to get into in depth in this course, but I thought you might want to know about that. In this course, we're going to be working on this image as a kind of an exercise, so I'm just going to drag and drop that back into the canvas. And I've intentionally just left this as simple as possible because I want you guys to understand how to handle this regardless of what kind of line art you're working on. For example, in this case, we have one layer. It's got the black line art and the white paper, and it's all on one layer together. Now, there are ways you can color with this. You can set the line art to multiply. And if I make a new layer by clicking this little new raster layer option, and I drag it down below my line art, anything that I do below this is going to show up beneath the inks because the multiply mode on the line art here basically makes white invisible. It's not a bad way to do things if you just want to get to something, start coloring something really quickly. But I do think there's a better way to handle it, especially if you're going to do anything like color the lines later, and it gives you a little bit more flexibility that I want to show you guys first. So I'm going to change this back to normal. I'm going to get rid of our other layer under here for now. Right click and delete. So we're back to just this one image, black and white, all on the same layer. Now, Clip Studio makes this really easy to put these lines on a transparent layer, which is better. It's better for our purposes. So if you go up to Edit, you'll see an option for Convert Brightness to Opacity. This is a very, very handy trick. If you click on this, what you're going to see is that it's going to remove all of that white from the background. So now we've just got our line art on a transparent layer. This will be much easier to deal with. For anything that is on a menu, let's say like that edit convert to brightness, or maybe there's something, some view you want to toggle off and on that you click on quite a bit. That's where these quick settings can really come in handy. Now I've already added a button for this here, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this and show you how this works. And if you don't have this open, just go to Window, Quick Access. And you can put it wherever you like. And then once it's open, click on Quick Access Settings. or quick access settings actually. It opens up this menu. Now this is very cool because what this does, it shows you by default, it opens up to the main menu. So this file, edit, animation, this is the same thing you're seeing across the top. So if there's anything at all that you want to be able to just create a button for, you just, like for example, that, what did we just use there? The brightness to opacity. Go down to edit, which is where it was. Scroll down a bit, and here it is, brightness to opacity. So I can just drag this right into my quick access bar over here. So if I go back to where we were just one layer with the drawing and the paper, and now click this convert brightness to opacity, you'll see it does the same exact thing as it did by going up to edit and clicking it here. And you can see I've already dragged in a couple of different options here, and we'll talk more about these as we move through the course. But that's something that I've learned to use quite a bit, is if there's something buried in a menu and you don't want to have to go up to the menu, create a button for it in quick access. I'm going to rename this layer just by double clicking on where it says layer 1. And I'm going to name it Inks, I-N-K-S. Hit enter. Now if I make a new layer by either clicking on the new raster layer option or Shift Control N, I can drag it below. And now, for example, if I fill this with white using the fill tool here, it now looks the same as it did before, except now my inks are on a transparent layer. This is going to come in really handy later. Now, by the way, by default, whenever you create a new layer, it's going to create it right above whatever layer you have selected. So if I delete this white layer just by right-clicking it and click Delete Layer, because this is, well, it's the only layer we have right now in the stack. If I click this new raster layer, I'm going to put it on top of the one that I'm currently on. Keep clicking that, if I can talk today, you can see that it continues to make new layers on top. All you have to do to drag them down is literally click it and pull them down. You see that red line? That's showing you where that layer is going to pop in. That'll be really useful as we're moving layers around the stack here. We're going to talk a whole lot more about layers in a lesson coming up shortly, but first I want to talk about the tools, so we're going to jump into that next.